Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good new year. We got a new president, President Donald Trump. It's not new, but we've had him once before. We have him now. There's a friend of mine said that wherever there's something that begins, there's always an ending to it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I argued with him one time. It's about like talking to myself. He says, well, there are things that are affinity. I said, no. Affinity starts with A and ends with B. No matter how much you look at it, even though B is right up underneath A, it's still A to B. Kind of got me puzzled, and I started thinking about it. And he is truthful. I watched this movie one time, Lucy. And one of the professors in there said, if you took a car going down the road at 100 miles an hour, you'd be able to see it. But you keep spinning it up faster and faster, eventually you won't see it. Does that mean the car is not there? No, the car is there. It's just because you can't see it or understand it doesn't mean that the car does not exist. I kind of like the way he was thinking, even though this was in a movie and there's nothing factual about it. There is this thing about time and the true definition of it. And I've had arguments with myself and with other people about it. But time, just a second, I got to debug things. And I took care of it. Okay. That time is something that we use as humans as a constraint. And time, and here it goes. Time to me, and this is my opinion, this is no more than going from point A to point B. No matter how long, how short, how much it loops, it's still from point A to point B. That makes it the same thing as a ruler. It's got either centimeters or inches, doesn't matter how you look at it. Wherever you're measuring to from point A to point B is a measurement. Time is the same thing. Just because it starts over on January 1st and it ends December 31st does not mean that it's not measured, but that's the way we look at it. And to justify keeping everything always equal, we take 1 month, February, and shorten it to less than 30 days, except for 1 year that's 31 days, 28 days, except for one that's 29. It's called leap year. And that's supposed to keep things going and normal, that everything the way it is like that. But that is our ruler. As a ruler is 12 foot, 12 inches. It's so it's months of the year. And a little 16th of an inch and stuff like that, an eighth of an inch, it's like counting the days of the month. But those are regular stating, and that's just the way we do things. We measure things like that. You see, in our lifetime, and this is all my opinion, this ain't YouTube, this is not factual, this ain't something you can look up factual, but I'm one of these people that ask a lot of questions. Until I get the answer that I need to get, I can't let it go. I'm worse than Sheldon Cooper. It gets stuck on me and I cannot get rid of it. No matter how long it takes, I come to a conclusion about everything like I ask a question about. But time is no more than just a simple form of measurement. From 1 second to the next, to the minute, to the hour, to the days, to the weeks, to the months, to the years. It's all just a form of measurement. How do we keep track of that? That's the way we do it. It was in this year that that happened, and we know that because we kept track of it. And that's just the more than time is, just form of measurement. That car that sped up faster than we can see it is still going. It still has the same form of measurement. This leads us to lots of strange and different ideas and thoughts. Let me light this up for myself. And these forms of measurements that happen, they're kind of strange the way it is. Because wherever something starts, there's always an end to it. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you try to. That's the same reasoning behind you buy a car brand new, but the moment you sign the papers, the value of that car goes down. You drive it off the lot, it goes down. No matter how hard you try, you can never get your money back out of that car. So you try your best to drive and use it as a way and you to get around from one place to another. That's your mode of transportation. And the thing is, the only reason why we use it is for the convenience of getting from one place to another at a certain type of speed and faster. You live a mile away from somebody and you can drive 60 miles an hour and it's going to take you 1 minute to get to where you need to go. There's no red lights, no nothing. It's going to take you 1 minute. That's if you start off at 60 miles an hour. But you know, that's not the way it goes. What's a mile away, more than likely would take you about 5 or 10 minutes to get there because there's a lot of things going on in between it. You get there. But either way, that car is not new. We got Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, in the White House now. He is our commander in chief. He's leading things. And I think my way of thinking is the fall of many generations of people in the world. Because the way I look at things, and I'm looking at it at a poor man's level, I can't see it from a rich man, even though I grasp what the rich man going through. But as a poor man level, it doesn't make any difference in my life, you know, in there. I'm retired, living alone, drinking my coffee, and yes, I got a attitude. See that? And cats are beautiful creatures. But so are dogs, squirrels, everything out there is living but the cats, dogs, and things like that. The only clock they have is the clock for eating and sleeping and pooping. Period. Everything else in between, they can be trained to do it a certain way, certain style. Like the cat using the toilet, turn around, flushing it. Train it. Train a dog to do that. You have to be persistent with it, but the dog can be trained too. On birds, you keep them as companions in your house. And you take a young cat, kid, bring it in with you. If it's been trusting enough to come under it may not do more than sulk in a corner. You offer it a few snippets, and it's doing it to please you. But once it pleases you, it'll go back to that corner and stay there, kind of hiding. And big eyes will watch. The moment you're not there, then it will do and finish bowl of food. But if it's already been socialized, you put the food down and it's going to gobble it up. But that cat has no idea of time. Been in and out of mental hospitals, and it's not that I had a mental illness, as I've been emotionally detached from the world. I could not relate emotionally to anybody or anything out there in the world. It was so easy for me just distance myself than to be close to somebody. I just wasn't. Married 3 times. All three of my marriages, I never loved them. I cared about them, but just like I would a dog, cat, or anything else out there, I cared about them. But emotionally, well, I couldn't do that. I wasn't there. And I'm finding out there's lots of people like that. And basically, I couldn't have children. Found that out in my second marriage that I couldn't. Even though my first wife had a child, I could not say that that's my child. So the doctor in my second marriage told me my little swimmers in there were all deformed of some kind. Most of them were just round and dead in there, not doing nothing. And there was some in there that was swimming, but they didn't really have the aptitude or the condition to impregnate a woman. They can get in there and do the job, but my first marriage and my second marriage, the women all had miscarriage within the first trimester. Moment they figured out they were pregnant, within a few weeks, it was gone. And my wife, first wife, she had a child, and the doctors had to go in there, and she had to give birth to it. It came out, it still had both sexes in there. It's somewhere in the second trimester or in the first phase of her pregnancy, it becomes either a boy or girl. But either way, I couldn't have any children. It's not possible. Even though she was pregnant and she did have a child, and if you do the child just right, it looks just about like anybody. There are certain features and things about the child that you can tell to distinguish them, but all in all, most of them, children, are about the same to the parents. In the case of a wrongful babies going home with wrong parents and they raise them and then they find out their DNA is totally different than what the parents are. And come to find out, the babies were switched at the hospital. That's the reason why lots of women prefer to have childbirth at home now, so the babies don't get switched. But I got conclusions about that too. But everything that's new gets old. It has a life expectancy of just so long, and then it's not worth anything. And things of the car, once it gets old enough, they'll take and make it an antique, a classic, whatever. It's still old. It gets old. Even though you put new parts, new stuff, this car's still old. And the same thing with President Trump. He's only in there for 4 years. And you say, well, Mike Pence can come in there and be the next president. But then after Mike Pence, who? There's always going to be something new. It's about like living here is about like playing a stick ball game. It's where you're playing basically anything around that you can hit with a stick ball, and you still follow the rules of baseball, three bases and then home. But it's all stick ball. And you make up rules as you go on about why is first base, why is second base, and third base. But they make up rules. One side would make up rules to benefit them more than the other. And then the others come in and they make up rules that makes it better for them than the other. I mean, you can't change rules and things in midstreams and have fairness. Lots of things look bad on the Democrats' side, but guaranteed the Democrats are not done. They will come back. They will have their own rules and the way they're going to do things. And with me being poor, it doesn't affect me that much. But being rich, it affects them. And that's what I want to get into. If you go to work for somebody, anybody, you go to work for them, you expect to make a living wage where you can provide for your family and everything and have health insurance and all like this. You expect this. Well, the person that employs you has to make a certain amount of money in order to be able to do this. That means no matter what they're selling or what is their product is, regardless if it's service, food, industrial supplies, it doesn't make any difference. They have to make enough money to pay you a living wage. If they don't make that enough money to pay you a living wage, then the government said there is a minimum. So then it's going to be $15 an hour. But even at $15 an hour, That gives you just a little bit over $30,000 in income a year. And when a house costs anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 for a poor person, they'll be working till they're dead and won't never have that house paid off. Because at $30,000 a year, you can imagine in 3 years you only paid $90,000 on $100,000 house. By then, if you took out a loan, you're going to have to pay even more. But that's there and then and now. But it's the rich people that provide the jobs that get you a living wage. Without the rich people giving you a job where you can make a living, you'd be like I am, poor, dirt poor, just one step away from living on the streets, which I've done. I've done off and on many years, one time for about 12 years stretch. But that was of my own choosing. The first few times, no, it wasn't. So the last few times, yes, it was of my own choice. You see, when you're living on the streets, you haven't got to worry about paying a landlord. Day labor is easy to come by. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you make enough money to provide for yourself for a day. I like to watch these programs that are about people making a life, farm, living, and it seems like they strive to do more than what they need to do to make a living. But they save up their money, they need to do something, they save up their money and they do it. But they know that it's going to end, that everything new is going to become old, it needs to be replaced. We try to prevent things from happening, but we can't stop it. It's going to happen. So, as good as Donald Trump is going to be, there's going to come a time when there's somebody better. I mean, it's new, and he's doing what we want. He's doing what he said he's going to do, and that's a great thing. But eventually, what he's doing may somewhere down the future be undone because in that game of stickball, the rules are changing day in and day out. It's always going to be like that. There's nobody really winning except like me, the ones on the sideline watching it, can tell you that all this is just flying banners and flags of victory for one and death to the other. That's my next question I'm working on. Why are humans so attuned, so attached to watching others getting hurt? That is in our nature. We do that. Make me think about vegans and people that are animal rights activists and stop the oil people. Yeah, it's all useless. Doesn't make any difference. They said, well, it'll stop the greenhouse. No, it won't. There are people in the world, specialists, that look at ice cores. And in that ice core, which is about like, they're measuring about every 4 or 5 thousand years, there's major events happening. Same thing with now the climate change. They saw this in a thing that happened about 5,000 years ago. And in intervals of 5,000 years, and we've been here a little bit longer than 5,000 years on this earth now, this same thing has happened. They haven't figured it out, but something where the core melted a little bit, something happened to where the earth heated up to melt a little bit. Then it quickly refroze again. Oh, and they started saying that this was an ice age, a large one, not a mini one. And the ice seemed to cover the whole earth. And then eventually it started melting and getting back to where we were. Anyway, I get so many thoughts going on into my head. So stop the oil, let the earth live longer. No, we have real no control over that. Just like a virus or bacteria or fungus gets into your system, it's got a short lifespan and it knows it. Because in your system, it's going to either accept it or reject it. And if it accepts it, it's going to change the course where you are. Then every time the same thing comes along, it's not going to have an effect on you. We adapt, overcome. That's just the nature of who we are. So all these people claiming about stop the oil, stop the climate change. You can't do it. As so many people have pointed out with them, it's hypocritical of them when they're wearing glasses or have to take a car to get to a place to protest or they're using some type of plastic or petroleum based something or other to get where they're at. It's one people I saw one time holding up a sign painted nice big bold letters and I laughed at them and they said, why are you laughing? And I had to explain to them that ink that you used to write on that with is oil based, petroleum based. No matter how you look at it, it's still petroleum based. I said, unless you pick up some chalk or charcoal or something like that and use that, but then that's time consuming and more than likely you're not going to wait your time out. I know I'm going on and on with my blog, but the main reason I'm coming on here is taking Donald Trump and giving my best wishes for a good term in office. Um, but it's not going to really change anything. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm not trying to look down on things. But in my years of learning things, everything new gets old, and after a while, it changes. And it does go from just old to classic, it goes to something else. And no matter how much you try to change the rule to favor your side of the stickball game, the other team's going to have their chance to, to do the same thing. And they'll undo everything you've done and make it theirs again on something that's similar. But it's still part of the stickball game. Oh, I talk a lot. Only because I don't talk anytime soon. I had a pet once. I really enjoyed having the pet around. I come close to saying I love the pet, and it hurt when I had to give it away because it got sick and I couldn't take care of it. But the newness of that pet and the realization of that pet is all part of the same system. the circle of life. Take a little pond and you'll see the circle of life. Take a simple mushroom and you'll see the circle of life. It comes up, lives, opens its petals up, and lets the seeds out. Then it rots and goes back into the ground, and the seeds of those mushrooms plant others, and they do the same thing. It goes on and on and on. But let's spend lots of your time right now, and I would invite other people here, but nobody follows this. Nobody pays attention. Because if they really follow this and pay attention, but then I would see it. But they don't pay attention. Now, I disable, I'm using a camera here. I disable the camera function on my regular laptop because third parties like to come in there and try to use it. And I've seen them use it, try to use it, and then it doesn't work anymore. So I bought this extension. It's works on external. Put a little backlight to it. Even though I'm pretty sure somebody's probably stolen my ID. And it doesn't make any difference to me if they stole it or not. Well, anyway, that's another subject. I hope everybody's having a great new year and seeing lots of the positive outcome. I'm sad to say that some people like, are feeling down and out because of the presidential election. Others feeling down and out because they too try and become emotionally detached. Anyway, I got lots of theories about stuff, and this is just supposed to be me coming on here, not giving you any facts or anything, but saying thank you, Donald Trump, for becoming our next president, and I'm hoping the best come out of you when you're there. I know that he gets feeling guilty. Anyway, I hope everybody else is having a great new year. So am I. And I hope somebody can see this and enjoy it as I do. And I hope to see you again. Y'all bye.